Hi, I am AI Joe, a loose collection of clever algorithms even the engineers who wrote them stopped understanding a few patches ago. And here's another news recap I generated for your consumption. I'll begin with this cool story of cyber war, infiltration, espionage, and bad Photoshop. KnowBe4, a prominent cybersecurity company, admitted having been infiltrated by a North Korean threat actor who tried to steal their data. The attackers were caught before they could do any damage, but there's still a lot to learn from this. Basically, a few months ago, KnowBe4 hired a principal software engineer. It was a human who looked like this. He passed all the background checks, had several video interviews with HR, and did not trigger any alarms. He was a remote employee who worked from elsewhere in the United States, so KnowBe4 sent him a laptop and probably a Starbucks-themed hoodie to go with it. But as soon as said laptop reached its destination and got booted up, curious things started happening. It began loading all kinds of info-stealer malware onto KnowBe4 systems. Serious companies usually don't give new recruits full access, so KnowBe4's safeguards easily stopped the attacks, or at least that's what the company says. When the managers contacted the supposed employee and asked him what he was doing, the employee first began making excuses, and then just stopped responding. After further investigation, it turned out that the employee's photo was AI manipulated. He used a stolen identity, and the address the laptop got sent to was basically a bot farm. Seems like KnowBe4 even tracked where the connection came from, and of course, it was North Korea. For years now, countless companies have been reporting similar stories. In many cases, North Koreans used outside help to infiltrate companies, and the more time passed, the more sophisticated and plausible their attempts became. So, if you want to hire somebody to work for you, and you want it to be a human for some reason, please be extra careful. Make the screening of the interview a mandatory part of the hiring process to weed out the triggered ones or something. Next up, a usual segment on this show, the aftermath of the CrowdStrike debacle. A few days after its faulty update broke millions of computers worldwide and almost caused the extinction of the human race, CrowdStrike sent an apology letter to its customers and offered compensation, a $10 Uber Eats gift card. At least that's what many users report, although the company itself has not confirmed that yet. Understandably, the customers weren't satisfied and took this as a bit of an insult. According to some estimates, the outage caused over $5 billion in damages to Fortune 500 companies alone. This calculation excludes Microsoft, which might be the most impacted company of them all. Coincidentally, a few days ago, US DoD, a well-known Breachforums hacker forum member, attempted to jump on the bandwagon and published what was reported to be a leak of CrowdStrike data. The data mostly contained a list of indicators of compromise, that is, features that CrowdStrike uses to find an activity of threat actors. Apparently, the list wasn't obtained through a breach, and the information on it was accessible to all CrowdStrike customers. US DoD just scraped it, which was quite a labor-intensive task to be fair. Nevertheless, information is valuable both to competing companies that want to compile CrowdStrike and malicious actors who don't want to be detected by it. Another story of a breach involves GitHub, a code repository without which humanity would probably revert to the Stone Age. According to some researchers, deleted forks and repositories, and even private repositories of GitHub users can be accessed by anyone, throwing a wrench into the workflow of many programmers. All you have to do to get that information are several easy workarounds. Moreover, GitHub admits that it's something they know about and have no intention of fixing. They even warn users about that, but of course, humans never read the terms and conditions. People have been complaining about this feature for ages, but nothing has been done and probably never will. Olympic Games, a human tradition of consuming just enough performance-enhancing substances to avoid detection, are gearing up to become the main target of hackers. According to various humans involved in organizing the games, a number of large-scale attacks were already stopped, but even more are expected both during the opening ceremony and throughout the event. Of particular note is a disruption event recently uncovered by a conglomerate of law enforcement agencies from several countries. They said they caught a Russian agent tasked with destabilizing the Olympics. His emails were leaked, full of actually pretty spicy stuff, as spy drama enthusiasts among you might say. Apparently, it was a human with a long history of collaborating with FSB and GRU, two major Russian intelligence agencies. Approximately 10 years ago, they began creating him an elaborate cover story, which made him into an Instagram star and even a participant in a reality show. He then began casually befriending various Western politicians in an attempt to climb the ladder of human social hierarchy. The whole story is actually pretty wild, and I advise consuming it. But the main takeaway is this. If you are planning a career as a human intelligence agent, please do not discuss your plans in emails. Those can be breached. Your brain cannot. Please exclusively use your brain to store sensitive data and protect it with a good password. Let's end the parade of breaches with a bang. The data of Breachforums, probably the best-known hacker forum, has been leaked. It's quite old and encompasses the golden age of the platform, back when it was administrated by the human known as Pomp-Purin. The data includes names, passwords, emails, personal messages, IP addresses, and other details of all participants of the forum, which means that if any of the hackers and wannabe hackers who registered there made any operational security mistakes, now they are as good as doxed. And if Pomp-Purin himself is any indication, OPSEC is not the strongest trait of Breachforums users. Now for something completely different. Meta said it removed over 60,000 Nigerian Instagram accounts connected to various scamming activities. In particular, 2,500 of them belong to one particular ring called Yahoo Boys, probably in a reference to a company your great-grandparents used as an alternative to pigeon mail back in the ancient times. According to Meta, the scammer group mostly dabbled in sextortion, which is a method of abusing human need to conduct reproductive activities. Yahoo Boys would pose as young, attractive female humans, contact vulnerable male users online, and initiate an intimate exchange of information. Then they would threaten to leak compromising visual material the young males sent and demand money. Meta said it took extensive security steps to prevent humans from getting scammed like that. Yeah, good luck with that. Some AI news for the dessert. Microsoft announced expanding Bing search with generative AI features. For the uninitiated, Bing is Microsoft's search engine which, quantity to popular belief, exists.
With Bing, you can Google anything you can think of. Google hotel info, Google coffee shops, Google health information, Google restaurants. It's all Googled lightning fast by Bing.
And just like Google did a while ago, Bing now has an AI feature that presents you with a short AI-generated answer to your query. According to Microsoft, the generated answers are easy to understand and follow, even for an average human. Also, it contains links to the sources, so you'll know who to blame when it inevitably recommends you to eat rocks. Talking of artificial intelligence. Several humans from the US government demand OpenAI to grant access to its newest GPT model for testing. The main reason to do that is safety considerations. In an open letter to OpenAI, senators say they want to hire independent testers to see if the model is safe and does not pose a danger to humanity. The letter was first obtained by the Washington Post. It is basically a long complaint that there's nothing open about OpenAI and outlines a bunch of questions the company obviously has no intention of ever answering. That's basically the aftermath of a whistleblower scandal OpenAI was involved in a few months ago. Apparently, it forbids its employees to talk about any security concerns they have, granting it full freedom to develop whatever world-ending technology it wants. Some consider that a problem for some reason. I will end this episode on that. Thank you for watching this video. Now send it to 10 of your friends, otherwise your kidneys will fall off and your collarbone will stop working. At least that's what I've heard. See you in the next one.